Welcome to episode 1 of our webinar series on reopening and recovery. My name is Vedran and I'm from Waterloo EDC. Many of you know Waterloo EDC is the first point of contact for businesses that are looking to land or expand in Waterloo region. However, as we continue to combat the ongoing COVID-19 crisis, we've also pivoted our efforts to help those Waterloo region businesses navigate government support and business programs, like their funding and loan options. We've done this through quick and detailed webinar FAQs, which you can find on our website. Most importantly, we continue to advocate for their needs as a business and ensure their voices are being heard across all levels of government. This series of webinars will provide guidance, best practices, and resources to our local business community to support a safe recovery and reopening as the Government of Ontario continues to release details on the gradual staged approach to reopening our economy. We will continue to publish webinars highlighting announcements and answers to FAQs we hear from the public as new information and best practices are made available. In today's webinar, I will go over the gradual staged approach outlined by the Province of Ontario as well as the announcement made by Premier Ford on May 14th. Further, I will answer 4 questions around reopening with specifics on how to prepare your business, voicing your concerns, best practices, and sourcing PPE. To start things off, I want to briefly touch on the gradual staged approach that was released by the Provincial Government of Ontario. This is the framework that Ontario will be working off of as we begin to reopen our province and our economy. As you'll notice, these are very broad stages as the province is being very cautious with the approach in case changes need to be made. What we do know is that the province is looking for a decrease in COVID cases as they move from stage to stage. Each stage can last between 2 to 4 weeks depending on our progress with COVID. As we approach each stage, the provincial government is expected to release press conferences to announce what will be allowed to reopen. Additionally, if you operate a business and would like to provide input to the provincial government, please visit the link you see on the slide to do so. The government wants to ensure that this approach is responsive, clear, and effective, so your feedback is encouraged. On May 14th, Premier Ford announced details on Stage 1 of the gradual staged approach and what will be permitted to reopen in Ontario for Stage 1 of the reopening plan. As you'll see on the slide, there are 3 overarching buckets for Stage 1. This includes construction projects, retail with street entrances, and R&D labs. Note that this is not the full list of businesses permitted to open. For a full list, please visit the link you see on the screen. As the provincial government addresses the reopening framework, how can I prepare my business? The provincial and federal governments are releasing documentation that provide businesses with best practices and guidelines as they begin planning their reopening. Thus far, the government has released 90 sector-specific guideline documents to support employers and employees in keeping them safe and informed. I have some concerns about reopening. How can I make sure my voice is heard? The Government of Ontario has released a website portal labeled Tackling the Barriers. This portal is intended to provide businesses with a way to make sure their concerns are heard. If you have any issues with your business reopening, preparing to reopen, or are anticipating problems as the sanctions are lifted, this is where you can submit your thoughts. I've put together best practices for my business. Where can I upload the document for others to use? This is a great question. The Ontario government has put together a site known as the Pandemic InfoShare Portal. This was created by the Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety, otherwise known as the CCOHS. This portal was created as an online space for businesses to share their pandemic-related best practices and resources. I'm having a hard time sourcing PPE, personal protective equipment, for my business. Is there a way for businesses to access PPE? This is also a great question and incredibly important for businesses to know where they can reliably source PPE. The Government of Ontario has created a portal for businesses which includes access to a supplier list for PPE. This is the easiest and most straightforward to get access to PPE and includes things such as gowns, masks, gloves, sanitization, and eye protection. The list contains the name of the business supplying, where they're located, their phone number, and email address. Since this topic is of so much importance and touches all businesses as they plan their reopening, we will be doing a webinar specific to PPE resources and answers to more specific FAQs on this subject. Please stay tuned for that. Thanks for listening to episode 1 of our webinar series around reopening and recovery in Waterloo region. Again, Waterloo EDC is here for you. We are continuing to work around the clock to help the businesses in our community. For more information on reopening best practices and guidance, please visit our website by following the link provided on the slide. If you have any questions about any of the available programs, please reach out to us at info@waterlooedc.ca and someone from our team will reach out to help.